Yep, it's me again. They hate me. That's why they give a fuck about me at the same time. As always, I am your host, JD Miles. The MGTOWs they love to hate. Even the ones that claim everybody loves to hate them, loves to hate MGTOW at the same time, which is why they keep us relevant to this day. And I'm back again. Y'all see the title of discussion. And I wanted to knock this video out before I do the last call. But y'all see the title of discussion. That being said, shout out to Cheese's Ed, the host of the Coffee Pot. I'll leave a link to the full video in the description box. Go check him out. But apparently you have this westernized African female who's trying to paint this picture with a broad brush and trying to lecture passport bros about the women in Africa. The only problem, but there's one problem. She comes off as if she's trying to make it seem like, oh, all the passport bros are flocking to Africa in great numbers. Case in point, she thinks Africa is one of the top 10 countries passport bros go to, when in reality, I did the numbers, and it turns out Africa is not even in the top 20 countries the passport bros go to, let alone 10. But enough of me babbling. Let's get on with the video, shall we?
50-50 only works in the United States. African woman warns men who think they're going to go to Africa to find themselves a nice wife that African women, in her words, have even higher expectations and standards for their men. Is she telling the truth? I don't know. Let's listen.
So, I saw a video today on TikTok of this young man, African American, saying how he wants to go to Africa to find a wife. And he said all this after watching Tyler, our beautiful sister from South Africa. And he's like, you know what? That's it. We just need to go to Africa to find wives. Audacity. Anyway, me being African.
What's the audacity behind it, ma'am? What, an African American wants to find a wife in Africa? And by you saying audacity, it sounds like you have a problem with him doing that. But let's continue.
African. I was raised in Africa and I was also raised in the United States. So I have experience from both continents, okay?
I can tell that because she still has her accent that she probably was raised in Africa a lot longer than I was. Guys, I came here when I was like 7 years old. Let's keep listening.
And
yeah, I forgot. Cheese's Ed is originally from Africa, but moved to the States. I may be wrong about where he moved to, but just throwing that out there. Let's continue.
Let me tell you something. If you are an American man who thinks that going outside of the United States is where you will find a good woman, a good wife, because American women ask for too much. The ladies out here, man, they're just materialistic. Let me tell you something. It is worse. It is 1,000 times worse than what you think back home in Africa. At least
that's false. And you could tell that this African female is completely westernized. And you want to know how I could tell you that is false? Because where I'm at, I talk to Ethiopians, I talk to Somalians, I talk to Africans that's from the Central Republic of Congo. They're telling me a whole different story than what this westernized African female is saying. It's not that fucking difficult. In fact, if you compare both currencies, if you compare the American currency to the currencies of all African countries, if your money is right, their currency is actually lower than the U.S. So So, say for instance, you go out there, you go to Africa with a lot of money. Guess what? You'll be able to make a living out there. So, this problem that she's stressing really doesn't make any sense at all. But let's continue.
At least for the country that I was raised in and the culture that I was raised in. Because here's the thing, African women, African young girls, we are raised to literally know that the man is the provider. In fact, a lot of African women don't even go to work. Their men are the ones who go to work and just bring the money home for the wife to budget.
Case in point, African females are the most traditional. But as I recall, most men in these days and times want a traditional female. But she's trying to make it seem like, oh, a traditional female is a bad thing. Meanwhile, the women of your country are better. These gold diggers, these scammers, these women trying to screw these men over, oh, they better than African women. I'm trying to wrap my head around her logic here. Let's continue.
And if you think the women here in America are asking for too much, in fact, go to Africa. No, go get married. Because the way African young girls are raised, we are raised with so much knowledge.
And it's funny how she's trying to praise the Western women out here. Notice the irony in her statement, because, well, if you have all this, if you have all this praise for Westernized women, then how come Westernized women who get their passports, go to Africa, are getting murdered out there, but you ain't got nothing to say about that, ma'am? But you put Westernized women on a high pedestal. Yet you're quiet like a church mouse when Westernized women go to Africa, get with your wrong men out there and get murdered. Meanwhile, you say nothing, but you got all this shit to say about the passport bros, even though the vast majority of the passport bros ain't going to Africa like you think they are. Yeah, maybe a few. And the few that are going to Africa have experience in Africa. They know what to do. But to try to make it seem like all these passport bros is flocking to Africa, like how they doing in South America, like they doing in Asia. You definitely trying to sell yourself a dream, ma'am. But let's continue.
About family, friendship.
And another thing too, if Westernized women who got their passports going to Africa, getting murdered out there in Africa, if that shit is happening to them, what makes you think the passport bros would even be interested in going to a country where it's all about survival more than a family? I'm just throwing that out there. Let's continue.
Friendship, how to deal with lives. So when families in Africa see that their daughters have gone through so much learning and they have become knowledgeable of life and marriage and all those things, they know the value of their daughters. And they say, you know what? Any man cannot come and marry our daughter for free. He has to pay a dowry.
Okay. Do you guys remember the video I did a while back where I warned you about African women, because there's an African woman who's complaining and she sounded like a feminist. She was in the United States, but I told you guys that you want to make sure you watch out for African women. Well, really it was just all immigrant women who transition to the United States, and you got to be careful because they'll know how to do certain things. They might cook and clean, but the more you pay attention to them, you realize they don't drink coffee. Hey guys, did you know that I'm on Facebook?
Which is a fact. And yes, there are countries in Africa where where if you want to marry one of the females in Africa, you got to consult with their family. And yes, they might ask you to do certain things. That is true. That is true. But she's completely what's the word? Overselling herself in this situation. But I'm going to skip ahead because we need to get back to what else she has to say.
That when you're not looking, she's drinking tea. She's completely westernized. This is exactly what I was talking about. This chick right here, along with the other chick. A lot was said right here. A lot that isn't really true because she's confused. Number one, she says African women have higher standards and they expect more. Cool. I actually don't think that men who are traveling to other countries have a problem with that. Let's assume that we're talking about African women who are not feminists. Let's start there. This conversation.
Yes, I agree. Yes, I agree with that. I mean, to view the world in one single lens is not enough. Let's continue.
About standards. And in this case, if a man goes to Africa, it's never really about what is she asking for. It's really about what am I getting in return? It's about what is that man getting in return? What are you giving him? Is it worth it? Is it worth it? That's the real question. Is it worth it? And so, even if a guy will have to provide for a woman in another country, maybe he goes to Thailand, maybe he goes to Africa, his money, if he has income that he can sustain and maybe travel back and forth. Again, guys, I am not a passport bro myself, but I encourage men to go wherever they're appreciated.
Same here. I'm not a passport bro neither. But if that's your cup of coffee, go for it. Let's continue.
Because it's tough out here. But if he goes there and realizes that, like, I get more for what I'm investing here, it's a simple decision. I invest here. I invest where I get the best return in my investment. That's what it's about. So I don't think that men are really surprised that the women have high standards for them. I don't think they're going there expecting those women to go 50-50 with them anyways. And as far as the dowry thing, my dad did pay a dowry for my mother when he married her. It's true, he did. And it happens. It still happens today.
Exactly what I said. Thank you for clarifying that, Jesus Ed.
I don't think that for men who are able to go to another country and are still able to sustain themselves financially, that would really be a problem. Now, if you're some passport bro and getting stuck in other countries because you're paying escorts and, that's a whole different other discussion right there. There are also families back in certain African countries that don't practice the whole dowry system. It all depends on where you go. Let's keep listening to these lies.
And that's why majority of African cultures, before a man goes to take the daughter to marry a woman, he has to pay the family a dowry, an appreciation. And dowry can go from money to cows and goats to even building the girl's family a house. Yes. And it's all to show appreciation to the family of the girl that thank you so much for raising such a beautiful and wonderful woman who's going to be the mother of my kids.
Keyword, beautiful, wonderful woman, a wife. He saw value in that woman. He liked the product. Are you saying we're products? Shut up.
God, I hope not. So we're nothing more than just a product. Just a product. Wow. Just wow.
He saw value in that thing and he paid for it. It was worth it. You can't complain when customers don't want to buy what you're selling, especially when you're giving it out for free.
So, the system works differently. The United States, after living here for almost 10 years, I've realized that here...
Another point proven. She stayed in the U.S. for years, became westernized. Now she's trying to speak for all of Africa as a whole.
Men just take for free. And I know this might be triggering and or insulting some people, but it's the truth.
Triggering and insulting? More like comical and embarrassing. So this foreign African girl here thinks men in the States get things for free, right? Oh, we don't have to work a day in our life. All our stuff gets handed to us for free. Wait, how many years she been in the States and she's still that fucking ignorant? Let's continue.
Men in the United States are used to taking things for free, especially from women.
Yeah. These women are offering cheeks like sample.
Yep. Only a decade in the U.S. and this foreign African female thinks that she knows the ins and outs of the U.S. Get the fuck out of here. Let's continue.
Sample platters at a Whole Foods store. If you're out here offering your cheeks like a sample platter at a Costco, how are you mad that people are lined up to get a taste of that ad?
They expect, well, I'm just gonna go date her, have sex with her here and there, and use her, and then we'll just be in a relationship. It does not work like that in Africa. It is worse.
So I guess that's the reason why y'all come to the U.S. because that's exactly what I be seeing some of y'all be doing out here. I see why y'all want to come to the U.S. But then again, y'all do that same shit out in Africa too. So stop the bullshit, ma'am. Let's continue.
You cannot take someone's daughter for free like that. You have to impress her and the family, most importantly. And in some cultures, like my own, if you have not proven yourself as a man that you have the resources to take care of someone's daughter, guess what? Even the family has the right to take you to court, to police, and say, we brought this man, he wants to take our daughter for free. Or if you've already taken the daughter without paying the family a dowry, they can say, he stole our daughter from us without any appreciation.
Hey, sounds like a good system to me. But here's my question. How are you going to stop modern women in the U.S. from giving away free samples? Go to the police here in the States and say...
They get free samples out in Africa too. And furthermore, she's proven why the vast majority of passport bros ain't going to Africa. And she just clarified this. And she just clarified this shit unknowingly. Thank you for that.
Say what you're saying right now. This is you're ma'am. Come on.
And guess who is gonna win the case? The family of the girl. So to any American man or any man worldwide who wants to marry a woman in Africa, use your common sense. You have to be very, very strong in your masculinity to know that I do not expect my wife to work if she doesn't want to. She can or she cannot. My position as the man in her life will not change whether she works.
Well, you better shape up if you're in the U.S. because out here in the U.S., it's not Africa. It's a whole nother ball game. Let's continue.
Or not. My position is to provide for her. So my brother, you want to go to Africa to find a wife because they're much more nicer. Let me tell you, they come with the most costly, how do I say this? And this is not like a selling your daughter type of thing. No, the families are not exchanging their children for money and possessions. No, it's simply the man giving to the girl's family in appreciation of receiving a wife. He who finds a wife finds a what?
A good thing. A good thing. A good
Yep, that sounds more like selling it to me.
thing. But he has to find a wife first, right? Again, guys, you're seeing an African feminist woman here who's just, she has her whole thing all messed up. And the truth is, bro, the chicks in African countries, and you're going to probably see in the comment section down below, are becoming more westernized.
A good thing. Yes. So if you're an American man, because that's
If they find a wife, ma'am. And what so happens if they can't find a wife? Or they make it difficult for them to find a wife. What will these men do? They will go elsewhere. So you trying to put off this front like all the passport bros are flocking to Africa? You could dead that shit. Let's continue.
That's all I've seen. And you're used to taking things for free. Don't go to Africa. Don't. You will be hunted down like a criminal for stealing someone's daughter.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Treat them like criminals, but you swear up and down that they're going to Africa. Fuck out of here. Again, let's continue.
Nonsense.
All right. So, a lot was said there, a lot was exaggerated. They're not going to be hunting you down. Guys, listen, as always, we're going to check out some of these comments, see what the people have to say first.
And yeah, I'm going to stop it right here. If y'all want to watch the Coffee Pod in its full entirety, the link will be in the description box. Go check it out. Tell them JD Miles sent you. I said what I had to say. I'm done with this westernized African female who's trying to paint a picture with a very broad brush, pretending like all the passport bros are flocking to Africa, when in reality, Africa's the least country they go to. And I'm out this bitch. Later.